Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here with Gents. Hopefully you're doing well. Got a fragrance haul for you guys today. So we got 4 fragrances. We got 2 niche, 2 designer. One of those designers is super cheap, so it could be one of those hidden gem cheapies that you want to check out. And one of them is
Philipp Plein.
This is that time of the video where I tell you, if you've not seen the Philipp Plein No Limits commercial, pause this video or go after this video and check it out. Philipp Plein No Limits commercial. That's all I gotta say. Watch it. Today's haul comes to me courtesy of FragranceBuy.ca. In case you're unaware of Fragrance Buy, it's a fantastic discounter. They've got niche fragrances, designer fragrances, all kinds of stuff there, and they add new things in all the time. They also have some door breakers, which is on the homepage. So if you go there, you can check those out. They change those from time to time. Door busters? Maybe it's door busters. Whatever. You're busting the door, you're breaking the door. It's the same thing. So let's jump into this haul of 4 fragrances, and I'm going to tell you guys which ones you definitely need to know about. Let's do this. So I'm going to start with the most expensive fragrance that I have in this haul. It's from Xerjoff, and it's Italica. This is one of those fragrances that caught a ton of hype, but only within the fragrance community, because it was really hard to find in the United States. So unless you were a big time Xerjoff fan, you probably didn't know about it. Now mine is a rinky dinky 30 milliliter bottle. Now I've got to tell you guys, I hate 30 milliliter bottles. I despise them. They're so minuscule and puny. So here it is, my bottle of Italica. Now I know size does not matter, and it's what's on the inside that counts, but still, when I see this, I just go, oh. I guess if you were being positive, you could say that it's a cute little baby version of the full-size bottle. I like the bottle though, it has a nice little matte finish to it, and the box, like typical of Xerjoff, it's very nice. On the side here, it says, saffron and Sicilian almonds are blended with whispering silky milk notes, garnished with bourbon vanilla and buttery toffee, all combined with rich layers of cedarwood, sandalwood, and white musk. A delicious Italian scent. So to my nose, this is sweet, very gourmandy, very sweet. And it does come across with kind of a cherry feeling when you first spray it on. So you get a lot of saffron, you get that milkiness, toffee, almond, kind of a cherry vibe. Some people I think have compared it to cherry cough syrup, and then a lot of vanilla as well. So yeah, this is overloaded with gourmand sweetness off the top. And actually, my wife hates the way this smells, hates it. She gave me that look, you know, the look of, I'm gonna stab you if you don't get away from me, when I had this on. I think her exact words were that it was nauseating and that it was giving her a headache and that it was just too far down that sweet gourmandy side for her. So she's not a fan, you could say? Now this is unisex leaning feminine. I actually think it smells nice. The opening is a little bit too far maybe to that sweet side of things for a lot of people. I mean, that reaction I got from her was not good. I can handle it better than she can. That being said, like I just mentioned, this leans feminine, so it's something I would like to give to her to wear, but she is not gonna wanna wear it. As it settles down, that nauseating sweetness does step back. It does get much more pleasant, I feel like. The toffee comes out and becomes more recognizable, and it becomes a better scent overall. So while I get the hype, at the same time, it's not something that I would wanna buy at full retail. I think it's fine, but Xerjoff wise, there are probably 20 more that I'd rather have over this one if I were gonna buy them at full retail or discounted. So that one is nice, but I don't love it. My wife hates it. Next up, we got Philipp Plein No Limits Fresh, super fresh, not just fresh, super fresh. Like I said, that commercial, if you haven't watched it, go check it out. On the box here, you got your Philipp Plein logo, No Limits, and it's got Plein Super Fresh on the side. This is done by Alberto Marias, little known perfumer who's done such fragrances as Acqua di Parma, and also Philipp Plein No Limits. So this one has a butt ton of notes in it. That's the correct way to say the number of notes that this has, a butt ton. And the first time I sprayed this on, I thought to myself, that's really not super fresh. I'm not sure that Philipp Plein knows what super fresh entails, right? So if something is fresh, you go, oh wow, that's very potentially clean or uplifting or brisk, fresh. We all know what that means. And then when you throw super on the front of fresh, now not only is it fresh, it is fresh taken to the next level and beyond. If your freshness level was an 8, when you throw a super in front of it, it better be a 10. And it sure isn't super fresh. This is more like the original No Limits and turned up maybe like 20% freshness. That's just an arbitrary number I grabbed right out of the sky. Is it fresher than the original? Yes, it is, but it still is pretty darn close to the original No Limits. Actually, when I first sprayed this on, I just thought to myself, yeah, that's really, really close to the original, actually. It is a little bit fresher in the opening than the original. That's the main difference here, is that open. This one does have a slight aquatic tinge to it. The spice isn't quite as overloaded as in the original. Maybe a faint, slight green edge around the opening of the scent here. But as it dries down, it gets pretty close to the original, like really close. Now, all that said, I think it smells really nice. It really does. But basically, it's just taking that original No Limits and maybe slightly smoothing out some of the edginess of that fragrance and making it a little bit more palatable for your everyday person. But it's not actually a summertime scent though. And in spite of the commercial being horrific and in spite of the branding kind of sucking, No Limit Super Fresh is actually a really nice smelling scent. Now let's head into that Cheapie, shall we? It's called I'm Not a Good Boy. What a wonderful name. I'm not a good boy. As if anybody, any adult walking through a store where they're gonna buy a fragrance or perusing a website is gonna see that name and be like, yeah, that speaks to me. It's just really bad, really, really bad. What are you wearing? I'm not a good boy. From the brand Nazareno Gabrielli. I don't know if I got that right. So the packaging is ultra, ultra, ultra simple. Next to nothing going on here. I mean, you cannot get cheaper looking than that. Got the little logo of the brand up top, and then here we have the bottle. Now, a big problem with this bottle, which maybe you can make out from where you're at way over there. Can you see the text on the front of this bottle? Yeah, it's really poorly thought out. They have the fragrance itself being very dark, and then they put the font here, the text, in brown. You can't read it. Even with me holding it like this, it's pretty difficult to read. Now, it's just the name of the brand and then the year 1907, and it says Pour Homme, but that's not very well done, guys. Cap is a very cheap plastic cap, nothing to write home about. So when I saw this name, I'm Not a Good Boy, I immediately thought, okay, so it's gonna be a clone of Bad Boy. I mean, that's what makes sense, right? Because if you're not a good boy, what are you? You're a bad boy. Bad boy. It's about $20, so really cheap, and I was expecting that. Carolina Herrera's Bad Boy. That's not what it is. In actuality, when you spray this on, it's quite similar to Dior Sauvage. So if you are not a good boy, you are a Dior Sauvage. It actually smells really good though, which is surprising because the packaging leaves a lot to be desired. When you first spray it on though, good amount of citrus. It does have that ambroxany sort of feel like you're gonna get from Dior Sauvage, but not as overloaded, not as metallic. That pepper is missing here. The lavender is still here, so you're gonna pick that up as it dries down. You also get a little bit of mint in the opening, so a little additional briskness. As it dries down, a good amount of woodiness is what you're gonna pick up. Again, not as much of that ambroxan, a little bit, but more woody leaning here, and a tiny tinge of tobacco. So essentially what you're getting is a Dior Sauvage with a twist kind of fragrance. For about 20 bucks, as I said, it's actually very, very good, because when you compare that to what else you can get that's basically trying to emulate Dior Sauvage in that price range, most of them suck. There are some fragrances from Armaf that you can pick up that have kind of a Sauvage vibe, but actually a lot of those end up costing more than this one, and this is just as good as those, if not better. And last, but definitely not least, actually, I think my favorite of this whole bunch, Acqua di Parma Leather. Comes in your typical Acqua di Parma little cylindrical box. This smells great though. In the opening, when you very first spray it on, it's got a little funk to it. It's got a kick. It has this, I don't know, slightly animalic feel when you first spray it on. So if you spray this and smell immediately, you're gonna get hit by that and you might go, oh man, I don't know about this, a little weird. Once that settles though, it really rounds out and smells great. Now what's funny is in the opening, you've got raspberry and citrus. So you look at that and you would think to yourself, oh yeah, the opening's gonna be pretty easy. You're in for a surprise. Another thing though, you see that raspberry in the opening and what do you think of? Tuscan leather from Tom Ford. You immediately think of that. And yeah, there is a similarity here between Acqua di Parma leather and Tuscan leather. This one does have a smokiness to it, which is gonna help set that apart a bit though. It's got a really noticeable, actually, woody smokiness that goes along with that leather. And I would say that this is even more masculine leaning than Tuscan leather. Definitely a potential challenging fragrance for some people, but I think overall a fantastic leather scent. Great performance also. Good projection, very good longevity. Acqua di Parma leather is awesome. It's a steal for the price. So of everything here today, this is the one I'm most pumped about. It's not close. This stuff friggin' rocks if you like leather scents. Do be aware though, it does have that similarity to Tuscan leather. Definitely does its own thing, but if you don't like fragrances having anything in common, then it would be redundant for you. If you already own Tuscan leather, I should say. So the standouts of this haul for me, Acqua di Parma leather, and surprisingly, I'm not a good boy. Because for the price, this is very nice and a lot of people could get so much use out of this. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for me. Thank you for hanging with me. Again, shout out to fragrancebuy.ca and a link in the description to their website and these fragrances. Stay safe out there, guys. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.